I'd like to call this Ways and Means Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please, Dan.
Fox.
Here.
Radke. Here. Krieger.
Yes.
Begic.
Here.
Hoonan.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Herrick.
Here.
Quorum present.
Are there any changes to the agenda? All right, hearing none, is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes of 5:3?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, at this time, we'll have public input. Anyone wishing to speak to the commission, please go to the podium, write your name and address, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to petitions and communications. Item A, appropriation of funds to dismantle the communication towers in Beaver Township.
So moved. Support. Support.
Moved and supported. Kristen, can you give us a little background on this one?
Absolutely. So back in the early 70s, the sheriff erected about a 200-foot tower on private property. It was decommissioned in or around 2014. Homeowners want to sell. They can't sell without this coming off the property, so we need to take it down. My staff went out and, per the purchasing policy, got quotes, and Lee Machinery is the best value in order to take it down and get it off of the property. And so we are looking for an appropriation to do so, as it wasn't budgeted. Homeowners had contacted us about it just recently. So.
Any questions, Ernie?
Just a couple. I'm curious on what it cost us when we built that back in '74 versus what it's going to cost us to take it down.
Brian, do you know that?
I don't know, I don't have documentation about that part of it. I just had some equipment that was added in the 80s. So that was a few $1,000 worth of equipment. So.
And then there's a conflict on the height of the tower. In one place it said it was 200 feet and another said it's 180.
So in confirming with John, it's 199 feet, so we rounded up to 200.
Okay.
Originally it was 219. Back in 14, we had to lower it with more footlights on it because of the height. So we took 20 feet off. It brings down below that 200 limit without lights. And now it sits up there at 199.
Okay. And then you said that there were other bids.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the best at 20 grand? Plus
Yeah, the other bid that we got that was able to do the full scope of the job came in over 26, and then another company, the other local company that has craned big enough to do this, was not able to do anything but operate the crane, so they weren't able to finish the remaining part of the job. And so Lee Machinery is the best value for us.
They'll drop it and dismantle it on the ground, where the other ones would just put it on the ground and we would have to deal with it.
So kind of my other question was, back when we were in Pinconning and dealing with that water treatment plant, and we did that in-house, we made out pretty well with all the metal that Rick was able to salvage. I'm just kind of curious, John, if you had a ballpark idea on what the value of that metal might be that they're going to recoup when they...
I don't have an idea of what, of course, there's a lot of weight there. And that is, in their quote that they would
It
get
is
salvage
factored.
rights.
Yeah,
Right.
it is factored in.
Okay.
We do have a generator inside the building that sits on the property, and hopefully we can recoup some money with the sale of that, or I haven't yet talked to Ryan if he would want to keep that for a spare for one of the other sites.
Well, that generator must be something from 1974? Or is it newer?
It looks a little relatively newer than that. It's an Owens generator. It's got a big transfer switch, and it's, this building is approximately 14 by 14 or 12 by 12
Okay.
We're
All right, thank you.
Mr. Cronin?
I think my question got answered, but normally we see the bids on a project, like any of the project that go out to bid.
I mean, I have them here, I can share them with
No,
you.
no, I
but,
know, somebody's got it. I said, normally we see them. That's the only question I was going to ask, but Ernie asked it, so normally we get a chance to look at the bids.
And remember that because of the purchasing policy and the threshold, we were required to do quotes, not bids. So we have the quotes here, and so I can show them to you if you'd like to.
Still think we should be able to look at them.
Any other discussion?
Jim?
Oh, Jim, sorry.
Just a comment. Commissioner Herrick and I did go out on a very rainy day to observe the tower and the infrastructure that's on site. And while we didn't talk to the owners that day, this is an issue that they've been concerned about for several years. They've been very patient. And in talking with Corporation Counsel, apparently Francis Voisin was the county administrator when the tower was erected. I believe was it 73, 74, something like that, Amber? Yeah. And so the county paid an amount to purchase the land. However, the deed was never recorded, and the family's been paying taxes on all these years on what would be a county installation. It should have been deducted. And so I know all of us, Commissioner Fox, everyone, I think it's the right thing to do, even though it's been delayed a long time, and they've been very patient. There was a death and a estate, and the property would like to be sold. But if this structure could be removed, it would make people happy. It is kind of, I squinted a little at the price, too, of $20,000, you know, that's kind of a costly venture, but I think it is the right thing to do. And should the board decide to approve it, I think just wanted to weigh in and say that we've been dealing with the attorney for the family for probably a year or two, maybe, in correspondence, but they've been quite patient, and it'd be nice to get this thing done and get it behind us, I'd say. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item B, the prosecutor, the IVE program, the consulting services agreement with MGT of America.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item C, the Sheriff Homeland Security Grant.
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item D, the Recreation Facilities Pinconning Park, the spotting scope grant.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? One thing I would like to add, I don't know that it's clear here, but this allows our handicap park users and our little kids to be able to use a scope on their own, which is pretty exciting, so.
I have to admit, rather than Google it, I sent an email to Kristen to ask her what a spotting scope was. And she sent me a picture along with the fact that this one was going to be lowered so that it would be handicap accessible or for children, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I could have Googled it, it probably would have been easier.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item E, Department on Aging, the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging Fund Award.
So moved. Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the adjusted grant amounts for the homemaking to case coordination and support and Congregate to home delivered meals.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, item F, payables.
Motion. You want me to do that now? Or are you going to say it? Just payables.
Well, payables of the resolution, you're going to, I guess there's no, hold on a second. To pay the payables, yeah. Is there a motion for that?
Absolutely.
That'd be great. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was stumbling and unclear.
Bills if you can.
Who's going to support paying the payables?
Support.
We love payables.
All right, we love payables. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, is there a motion to receive the general fund equity analysis?
So moved.
Support?
Moved and supported. Discussion, Mr. Krager.
Just a request, is there a way that we can blow up the writing a little bit for us people?
Can do.
Do you have a magnifying glass?
Well,
Too small.
yeah, it just make it a little easier.
It would,
to
for
follow.
sure.
Thank you.
Had something else about the veterans, I think it's raised.
Which one?
That's to 2,500, that's the third one down,
On the flags.
2,000, this one, I know that's been raised to 2,500 now, it was 2,000, I guess, we have to correct that. That's what I've been telling the veterans, is 2,500, so we have that line item each year for flags.
Right.
It's now 2,500.
Oh, okay.
2,000.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And then how about the executive, to receive the Executive Directive 2007-11?
I'll move it.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3, the Community Center Roof Project.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then waiver of the EFT policy for the Household Assistance Program.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Shauna, would you give us a little background on this one?
Sure. So the board approved $1 million for the Household Assistance Program, which will pay delinquent taxes, utilities, and provide rental and mortgage assistance for up to $3,000 per household. And the plan is to launch the program on June 22nd, assuming this board approves the waiver of the EFT policy so that we can issue paper checks, because we're going to be paying on behalf of people to companies like Consumers Power, and we don't want payments to be misapplied if they're being sent through EFT. We'll be doing some press releases and advertisements, and if anyone's watching or interested in telling their constituents or others, the information will be available on the county website. They'll be able to fill out an online application, print a paper application. They'll be able to go to the treasurer's office and get an application, and then they can return it to the treasurer's drop box or at the window, and we will help them process the information from there. So the application's been developed, and more details will be coming out soon.
Question.
Yes?
You said people can access it via the county's website. Is that on the front page, or do they have to scroll to the treasurer's office or the finance department? How easy will it be for them to find, or where will it be?
It will be very easy for them to find. While we have not located an actual space quite yet, there are the news items on the very front homepage. It will definitely be one of the news items, and the marketing materials are still being developed, but it will also be on the county Facebook page. Be very easy to access, as well as a dedicated email address.
Okay.
For the program.
Because not everyone is,
Absolutely, sure. And so we'll make sure that it's available in paper as well.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any referrals? Unfinished business? New business? Reason to go into closed session?
There is not, Madam Chair.
Miscellaneous? Ernie?
So, this is kind of a request under personnel, if we could. I'd like to get maybe an update on where we're at with filling the financial analyst position, and where we're at with looking at the position when our young lady decides to hang up her hat, seeing that we're in the 6th month and we've only got 6 months to go, I'd like to maybe bring it out so everybody knows what's going on. Just a request.
Okay. Is that doable, Mr. Herrick? Is that doable, like at the next board meeting or personnel?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just checking in.
Everything's doable.
All right. Are we moving on to announcements?
The other thing is Bay Future, I think you maybe all got it, that they had, after 21 days, they had 225 applications. That's the $1 million that we gave them, plus some money from the city.
That's good.
So they had the period from May 10th to May 31st. They received more applications than they expected, and they're working on giving out the money. So sounds like they're working in a timely manner to get it done.
Excellent. Was that under miscellaneous or announcements?
He's not sure.
I'm not sure where to go next. Announcements. Are there any announcements? Jamie?
All right, so, Garber High School Sports, their girls soccer team just won the district championship against Freeland.
They did.
5-1. Wow. Broke Freeland's streak of 12 district championships in a row. It was a sight to behold. But this is 3 years now for Essexville's Girls Soccer Club. Could have been 4, but didn't play in 2020. So they play tomorrow in a regional semifinal at Williamston against Williamston, who's the number 1 ranked club in the state.
And where's Garber ranked?
What's that?
And Garber's
Garber
ranked?
was ranked 7, I think 7. I think
Okay.
we were 7. And they get an opportunity to, in 2019, they beat Williamston on their way in Williamston, on their way to the state championship. And then in 2021, Williamston repaid it 5-1. It was 2-1 at halftime, but 5-1, and so tomorrow will be the rubber match between them. So that's some fun stuff. So if you get some time and you want to take a drive up to Williamston, nice place. $1 million plus facility out there, which is why they host every year.
What time's game
$1 million
time?
with a guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you might be close. It's 5 o'clock. And then we've also got district softball, the girls softball. This is, I believe this is a three-peat for them as well. And they'll actually be hosting regional games 10 o'clock at Garber, I believe, is against Linden. So
Okay.
lots of really good stuff. And the boys they missed out. They lost 2-1 to John Glenn. Otherwise, they would have been district champs. So lots of really good stuff going on.
Before we get to Craig, I'm going to put Jim on the spot because Central High School had their 100th anniversary of their graduating class, which you attended.
Yes. And I want to say it was a night of great memories, and Judge Kelly, myself, and Daryl Newton from the NAACP, and Judge Miner, and a couple of other graduates all had a chance to speak briefly. And then the band appeared on the stage, the marching band, which really ended the festivity appropriately, and was a wonderful audience and a full house, and everything went really well. And I do want to mention to Jamie, I think 3 times in the past, I think Freeland soccer team also were national champions. So aside from district, they were state and then on to national.
I think they're the last public school to win a state championship. So most of them, when they get to this school size, it's the private schools that end up winning. So,
yeah. But yeah, 100th, yeah, that's great. We can be proud of Garber and Essexville Hampton Schools, right? Corporation Council?
We have good stuff everywhere. But
Yeah.
those 2 things are exciting. Okay, Craig.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this Saturday at Bay County Animal Services, we're partnering with the Humane Society of Bay County for a vaccine clinic for animals, both dogs and cats. For example, one of the prices for rabies, it's going to be $10. Very reasonable for a lot of these vaccines. There's Bordetella, FLV for cats, for instance. Microchipping is going to be available for $20. Stop out between 10 and 2. Very, very reasonable cost for some of these vaccines for animals. So.
Excellent. Any other announcements? Mr. Pinconning?
I'm not on the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame anymore, but they did have their selection yesterday. It's online. Mike Rusdala emceed it. It was over at, I think it was over at the old Steamers. Nemo's, Mo's. I know Eric Dievendorf was one of them, and there were several, I think there's 7 or 8 different people, and that's November 13th will be their banquet at the Doubletree. I think there was a Pinconning person, somebody from Pinconning.
You think? You're telling me half a story?
Handy baseball from 82, and there was one other softball team from like 82 or so, but it's online, it's on Facebook.
I think right around there, Handy softball went to states. Irene Green was their coach, somewhere around there.
Couple teams, some
She has a
teams
gift.
are in it, so
I digress.
everybody's invited November 13th, Doubletree Hotel.
So if someone's not a member, can they go?
Yes.
How do they do that?
You get a ticket. Jenny Thunberg has tickets usually over at Central High School. It's the easiest way, or online. Probably can do it online now. They have a Bay County Sports Hall of Fame webpage. I'm sure they got some electronic tickets by now.
Okay. Great.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Have the